On the day of our divorce, I slapped Emily's son across the face 5 times. When Ryan Parker arrived, that woman was already crying in his arms. He shouted at me, "Claire, you're completely out of control." I raised my hand and slapped him twice as well. "I was too busy packing after the divorce. I forgot to pack you." Ryan stared at me in disbelief, clearly shocked that I'd actually hit him. "Surprised? Why would you be? When you were strutting around town with your little secretary, did you not expect to face consequences? Since you're so short-sighted today, maybe you shouldn't even keep your last name. Just take mine, because the moment I saw you two, I already knew exactly how I'd slap you both." Emily started crying harder. Her tears clung to her face like raindrops on pear blossoms. She looked at me pitifully and said, "Miss Claire, you've misunderstood. There's nothing going on between me and Mr. Parker." I didn't bother wasting my time with this phony green tea act. I told the bodyguards to drag her out. Then I lit another cigarette, sat down by Ryan's desk, and handed him the divorce agreement. "Sign it. After the 30-day cooling-off period, we'll finalize everything." He stayed silent, face cold. Through the smoke, I looked at him. That face really was good-looking. No wonder I had been so hopelessly in love all these years. But then I remembered that this was the same mouth that had kissed someone else and yet still tried to kiss me. Just thinking about it made me sick. I took off my wedding ring and placed it on his desk. The sharp clink echoed crisply, like the final cut in a film. I turned to leave. That's when Ryan called out to stop me, his eyes wet. "Claire, can't we not get divorced?" My mind flashed back to that summer after our college entrance exams. Cicadas chirping, green leaves fluttering in the breeze. Ryan stood under the shade of a tree, our oversized school uniforms rustling in the wind. The boy who was once so arrogant and carefree now looked shy, too embarrassed to meet my gaze. "Claire, the exams are over. Can I start pursuing you now?" "No." In my head, 2 voices overlapped, one from my past, because I wanted to be with you. One from now, because I no longer want to. I casually stubbed my cigarette into the desk. The expensive surface burned instantly, leaving behind a black scar. I looked at Ryan with a careless tone. "Oops, ruined the birthday gift I once gave you. But since you and Emily had your fun on this desk, it just feels filthy now. Toss it." Ryan's expression changed, shock, then a flash of something dangerous. He stared at me. "You've been spying on me?" I let out a short laugh, shaking my head, then pulled a stack of photos from my bag and threw them onto the desk. "Didn't need to. Your precious secretary couldn't wait to brag about it to me. Go ahead and sign the papers. Isn't she pregnant? She's got a prenatal checkup scheduled at 3 p.m. today. They even sent the appointment confirmation to my phone." I unlocked my screen and showed it to him, amused. Sure enough, the sender of the message was Eliza Summers, Ryan's secretary. "My grandfather's birthday banquet is this afternoon. I've got a client meeting and will be a bit late. Can you help cover for me?" Ryan looked at the message in silence. I had no energy to play this frozen statue game with him. I picked up my bag and walked out. From the passenger seat, my assistant leaned over and asked, "Miss Claire, are you still attending your grandfather's birthday banquet tonight?" I pressed my fingers to my temples, suddenly feeling very tired. "No, I'm not going." I handed her the divorce agreement and the filing documents. "Take these to Grandpa. He'll understand. Oh, and those venture capital folks who've been wanting a meeting, let's set it for tonight." At the top floor of a luxury hotel, champagne fizzed in a chilled bucket. I flipped through the pitch decks, focused, my attention fully on the documents, until a sudden burst of footsteps came from the elevator. Ryan stormed in, shoving open the door with force, eyes blazing as he marched toward me. "Claire, are you really serious about this?" I didn't even look up. Instead, I turned to my assistant. "Take the guests to the lounge. Seems Mr. Parker has something he wants to say to me." Ryan's face darkened, his voice biting. "You won't even show up for your grandfather's birthday, just so you can dine with these pretty boys? You even sent over the divorce agreement. Claire, how far are you going to take this before you're satisfied?" I said it with more seriousness than I had in a long time. "Do you think I brought up divorce just to throw a tantrum? Ryan, I truly don't want to live like this with you anymore." He looked stunned, caught off guard. His eyes darted slightly, and I could tell he was panicking. "We've been together for 10 years. Married for 3. And now you just say you want to end it. Just like that? I don't believe it. But fine, I promise you. I'll make sure she and the child never appear in front of you again. I won't sign the divorce papers. I let out a sigh. I didn't understand what he was still trying to protect after cheating. I won't allow my husband to have a child out of wedlock. If she terminates the pregnancy and is sent abroad, then maybe I'll consider your so-called compromise. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to file for divorce. Of course, Ryan wasn't going to accept that. He stood up, furious, glaring at me. Are you insane? That's my child. And don't forget, you have fertility issues. You might never be able to have a child. I've already made so many compromises for you. What more do you want from me? He slammed his hand on the table. This is how it works in wealthy families. As long as it's not out in the open, which wife really makes such a fuss? Don't they all turn a blind eye and let it pass? Claire, maybe you're just too greedy. I stared at the man in front of me. His eyes were bloodshot, his voice hoarse as if I were his enemy. In my memory, this was the first time he'd ever shouted at me like that, just to protect another woman and their child. To be honest, I had still planned to drag this out a little longer. I had loved him for so many years. Deep down, I still wanted our relationship to end with some dignity. But now, looking at him, without the haze of cigarette smoke in the office, I found his face truly repulsive. I raised my hand and slapped him, hard. Ryan, you honestly disgust me. He clicked his tongue, irritated, and asked coldly, Are you done? What's with your temper lately? Just that one sentence, my eyes welled up with tears and they began to fall uncontrollably, like a gentle rain that wouldn't stop. I saw confusion and helplessness in Ryan's eyes. Funny, isn't it? I didn't cry when I found out he cheated. I didn't cry when I brought up the divorce. But now, just a single sentence from him, and I broke down. I ran off, like I was fleeing something terrifying. Wasn't all of this because of Ryan? He used to say that even if the sky collapsed, he'd hold it up for me. He said he wanted me to be a princess for life. He promised to tolerate my bad temper, to indulge all my whims. But now he had driven me to madness, then stood there watching me fall apart and blamed me for being emotionally unstable. We had been in love for 10 full years. Ryan, how could you stop loving me? How dare you stop loving me? At 2 a.m., I sent him one last message on WeChat. Do you know? We once had a child. His reply came quickly. Claire, you have fertility issues. The message stunned me. I stared at it, fingers frozen above the screen. It wasn't Ryan. I knew instantly. The tone, the wording, it wasn't him. And then, in a different place, far from me, Emily, what are you doing? Ryan's sudden voice made Emily's son jump. She nearly dropped her phone. And nothing. I just saw your phone sitting near the edge of the table. I was afraid it might fall, so I moved it in a little. She turned the screen over quickly and, almost on instinct, deleted the entire chat thread with me. Ryan was a little drunk. He took the phone back and said flatly, It's late. You should go. But Emily clearly didn't want to leave. She clung to his arm, her warm breath landing softly on his chest. It's so late. Don't make me go. The air between them was charged with tension, thick with ambiguity. But as he looked into her wide, doe-like eyes, Ryan suddenly thought of me. I would never behave like that. I would always lift my chin and tell him straight, whether I loved him or not. A sharp pain pierced his chest. Almost unconsciously, he reached for his phone, wanting to say something to me. Anything. Even if it was to call me Mom as a joke, anything would be better than that cold, unfamiliar look I gave him tonight. It really did feel like I didn't love him anymore. Ryan pushed Emily away and immediately dialed my number. Sorry, the number you have dialed is unavailable. A sudden wave of panic hit him. He opened WeChat and started scrolling through his messages, trying to find our chat. Nothing. No matter how he searched, he couldn't find our conversation. He typed my name manually and sent a message. A single bright red exclamation mark popped up. I had deleted him. The call didn't go through either. Claire really didn't love Ryan anymore. He tried to convince himself otherwise. She was just emotional. I was drunk. She'll calm down tomorrow. I'll go find her. But the next morning, when he arrived at the airport, Sorry, Miss Claire already took her flight this morning, the staff said. As for anything else, we're not really sure. Ryan grew anxious. He grabbed one of her assistants and demanded, Where did she go? When is she coming back? The assistant just shook his head and handed over a folder. This is the divorce agreement Miss Claire asked me to give you. She said the last one wasn't signed. This copy has her signature on it. If you insist on asking, she said, on the day the 30-day cooling-off period ends, 9:30 a.m. at the Civil Affairs office, she'll be waiting for you outside. At that moment, my plane had just landed in Tokyo. It had been a brutal night. I don't even remember how long I sat holding that abortion notice, crying my eyes out. I had locked it in a drawer. A thin layer of dust had already gathered on top. I'd imagined so many different reactions Ryan might have, but I never expected him not to believe me. I didn't know how to process the storm of emotions that pushed me to the brink. After all, it had been 10 years, and I didn't have another 10 years to waste on him. So I chose to run. Yes, avoidance was cowardly, but it worked. At first, Ryan seemed to go crazy trying to find me. But after a while, he stopped. Maybe he thought I'd definitely show up after 30 days to finalize the divorce. Maybe he thought the time apart would help us calm down. Maybe he thought that when I came back, he could sweet-talk me, and everything would go back to the way it was. On the last day of the cooling-off period, I returned to the country. From a distance, I saw Ryan standing outside the Civil Affairs office with a huge bouquet of roses. Anyone who didn't know better would have thought we were there to get married. "Claire, long time no see," he said, handing me the flowers. I didn't take them. "Let's go inside and finish this first." He kept smiling, bright as ever, his voice full of excitement. "While you were away, I thought about everything carefully. I don't want to separate. I want us to stay together. I know you still have resentment about what happened with Emily." But Ryan's words were cut off by a voice. Not far away, Emily walked toward us step by step, cradling her belly. She smiled gently at him. "Ryan, haven't you handled things yet? We've got that prenatal appointment this afternoon, remember?" Her words were directed at Ryan, but her eyes were locked on me, unblinking, full of provocation. I knew exactly what she was doing. During the time I was gone, Ryan had still refused to marry her, so now she had no choice but to come at me. "Emily, what are you doing here? Didn't I tell you to stay at home?" Ryan frowned. "What prenatal appointment? What are you talking about?" "We're supposed to be taking you to terminate the pregnancy this afternoon." Emily completely ignored him. Instead, she grabbed his hand and pressed it against her stomach. "Ryan, feel it. This is our baby. He's still so small, growing right here inside me. Can you really bear to kill your own child?" Ryan's expression softened, visibly shaken. Even through the fabric, he could feel the curve of her belly, and his heart weakened. I stood there, watching the whole thing unfold. I didn't feel angry, just amused. If Ryan wanted to perform a touching father-son scene, he could take it home. We weren't even divorced yet, and he already had an illegitimate child. And as for Emily, was being a mistress something to be proud of? Did the two of them really think standing at the door of the civil office like this would move me? Get divorced first. After that, the two of you can get married. I'll even bring a gift, I said with a casual, mocking tone that visibly irritated Ryan. He tried to keep his cool and pleaded, "Claire, can we please not get divorced? I didn't come here today intending to go through with this." He begged me not to leave him, yet stood firmly on the opposite side, with Emily and their unborn child. In that moment, it felt like whatever was left of Ryan inside my heart had completely rotted away. I didn't even wait for him to finish talking. I turned around and walked off. "Fine. Let's file for divorce. Drag it out if you want. The result will be the same." My car pulled away, leaving the two of them behind in the distance. The lawyers from the Wrong family worked quickly. That afternoon, the divorce lawsuit notice was already sitting on Ryan's desk. I had been away for over half a month. There were so many things to take care of when I got back. After a long nap, I accepted an invitation to a formal reception. I dressed up elegantly. Tonight, we were announcing a new partnership for the Wrong family. With a glass of wine in hand, I made small talk around the room. When I glanced over at the private booths, I noticed Ryan was there too. He was chatting casually with some of his friends. "Ryan, you still haven't gotten Claire to forgive you?" one of them said. "Honestly, you spoiled her too much before. Every man in our circle has a little something going on outside. And she's infertile after all." Now that Emily's pregnant, you. Ryan's expression tightened, his brows furrowed. Who told you she's infertile? The other man immediately shut his mouth, realizing he'd said too much. He glanced at Emily across the room and gave her a quick, panicked signal. Ryan followed the look and landed directly on Emily. His stare made her visibly uncomfortable. She rushed to explain. Ryan, I just heard it somewhere. Don't be mad, okay? The way you're looking at me, it's scary, and it's not good for the baby. Ryan finished off his drink in silence and walked away. If you know it's not good, then you should have stayed home like I told you. Why did you insist on coming to this reception? Emily barely said a few words before her lips started to quiver, pretending she was about to cry. I know I've caused trouble for you. I'll ask Claire to forgive me. I just want my child to live. Is that so wrong? Ryan had always been used to my strength and independence. He once thought Emily's soft, gentle personality was refreshing. But now, under the influence of alcohol, her constant whining was starting to wear on him. He frowned and muttered, Cut the drama. Since you insisted on coming, stay in the corner and behave yourself. Don't go parading in front of Claire. That attitude made Emily even more anxious. Desperately, she tried to hold on to Ryan's hand. But as she followed his line of sight, she saw me standing at the center of the reception. Pregnant women are naturally sensitive. Panic and fear consumed her instantly. She bit her lip, stood up, and marched straight toward me. Without saying a word, she cradled her belly and dropped to her knees. Miss Claire, I'm begging you, please spare my child. The entire room gasped in shock. Scandals among the rich weren't rare, but they were almost never dragged out into the open like this. I frowned and stepped back. Miss Emily, this is a lawful society. Don't say things that sound like threats. The wrong family does clean business. We won't tolerate slander like this. But Emily only got worse. She clung to my leg and started sobbing uncontrollably. I know I'm the other woman, but I just want to give my child a home. Please, I beg you, let me have Ryan. Give him to me. She was pregnant. I couldn't touch her. So I just stood there helplessly. Fine, take him. Just let go of my leg, will you? Before Emily could respond, Ryan came storming over. His face was dark as he yanked her to her feet. Emily, are you out of your mind? But she didn't seem to hear him. She grabbed his hand and cried out, Ryan, she doesn't want you anymore. Claire doesn't love you. She's infertile, but I'm carrying your child, so marry me, okay? I want you to promise me you'll marry me. Ryan fell silent. It was clear to everyone that Emily's mental state was spiraling. All I could do was signal a few reception staff to escort her out so she could rest. As I watched Emily's figure disappear, I stepped into a quiet corner and turned to Ryan. Let me go, I said softly. Please, I'm begging you. The way you're handling this, you're putting me in a really impossible position. Ryan's face was filled with guilt. He looked like he wanted to speak but hesitated. Eventually he opened his mouth. Claire, I love you, but the baby in Emily's belly, that's my responsibility. I've thought about it a lot. If we'd had a child back then, would things have ended up differently? I took a small sip of champagne, my voice calm and distant. That night, we argued and parted badly. I messaged you afterward, and you replied by telling me I was infertile. But I didn't lie to you, Ryan. We did have a child once. His face went pale instantly. The hand holding his wine glass trembled. What? What did you say? You're telling me I didn't know. When? When did this happen? His eyes instinctively dropped to my stomach, flat, showing no sign of ever having carried a child. I lowered my gaze, my heart twisted with pain at the memory I never wanted to revisit. It's gone, I lost it, I miscarried. The baby was gone the same day you slept with Emily for the first time. Don't you remember that night? There was a thunderstorm. Half the city had power outages. Even the company and the villa lost electricity. I told you to come home. Lied and said I was scared. But really, I wanted to tell you the good news. My throat tightened and I gently set down my wine glass. That was the first time you ever lied to me. You said there was a work emergency, that you'd be home in half an hour. But an hour passed. You still hadn't come back. I couldn't reach you. The rain was coming down so hard, I got really worried. I changed clothes and was about to head out to look for you. I was on the stairs when I got a text. I thought it was from you. I thought it was you explaining why you rushed off to Emily. But it was a photo, of the two of you in bed. My shoulders trembled violently. I tried my best to suppress the sob rising in my throat. I fell down the stairs from the second floor. My phone flew out of my hand. Blood trickled down my legs, just a little at first. I tried crawling toward my phone, but I didn't have the strength. I passed out right there on the staircase. It was the housekeeper who found me, hours later. When I woke up, the doctor told me the baby didn't make it. Ryan broke down crying, completely losing control. He didn't care about appearances anymore. He slowly pulled me into his arms. I weakly pushed him away twice, but didn't have the strength. I sank to the floor, and he knelt with me, holding my waist and sobbing like a child. When I woke up, I cried just like you are now. That night, I needed you so badly. Even if you had already cheated, I still needed you. But the housekeeper told me you'd suddenly gone on a business trip with your secretary, Emily. You never came. Not even once. Not even when I was discharged. Did you two have fun that month? Ryan looked up from his tears. He couldn't even form full sentences. His eyes searched mine desperately, like a helpless child. Claire, I'm sorry. I really didn't know. I finished the sentence for him. You were just chasing something new. Emily's gentle, quiet. Her profile looks a lot like mine, but her personality completely different. That night, she ran into your arms because she was scared. She kissed you first. And in that storm, with the two of you holding each other tight, you made a mistake. I let out a long, exhausted sigh. I didn't love Ryan anymore. But recalling everything we went through in this marriage still left me breathless with pain. Let's reapply at the civil office tomorrow. I hope that next month we could finally finalize the divorce. Ryan, please don't delay me any longer. I gently pried his arms from around me and stepped away slowly. Before leaving the venue, I met briefly with the organizer of the event to offer my apologies. After everything that happened tonight, even the business announcement felt overshadowed and chaotic. We agreed to reschedule it as a proper press conference, something more formal. He nodded in understanding. He also offered to drive me home, which I politely declined. According to my family, he was supposed to be my next potential marriage candidate. He was calm, gentlemanly, and even after my repeated rejections these past weeks, he remained composed and respectful. Well then, until next time. Take care. Ryan probably hadn't slept all night. He looked exhausted, with dark circles under his eyes. Together, we submitted the divorce request again, beginning a new 30-day cooling-off period. But this time, he finally understood that once the 30 days passed, I truly intended to leave. Is today okay? I asked. When I moved out, it was so sudden. I'd like to go back and pack a few more things. I nodded. My fingerprint still unlocked the door to the villa. The housekeeper, unaware of the latest developments, smiled brightly when she saw me. Madam, you're back. It's been a while. What would you like for dinner? It's hot today. I'll make something light for you. I smiled and waved it off gently. Don't worry, I'm just here to pack. I won't be staying for dinner, and I probably won't be back again. I spoke calmly, as if discussing tomorrow's weather. The housekeeper glanced at Ryan's face and understood everything without asking further questions. As I began to sort my things, Ryan offered quietly, "Let me help you. Just tell me what to do." I lightly slapped the back of his hand. No need. I can handle the mess you left me just fine. Plop. The sudden sound of tears hitting the floor made me flinch. Ryan was crying. I froze for a moment before realizing what was happening. It reminded me of when we first got married and I moved from the Zhou family's house into the villa. Ryan had stood just like this, clumsy, unsure, watching me run back and forth, trying to help but only getting in the way. I had been both frustrated and helpless back then, saying the exact same words. But back then, I was moving in. And now, I was moving out. There were only 2 boxes left, my personal items, things not worth taking back to my new home. You can ask the housekeeper to toss them later. Before leaving, I even deleted my fingerprint from the smart lock. 10 years of love, and in the end, it didn't even take an afternoon to pack it all up. Ryan stood in a daze, staring in the direction I left for a long time. It wasn't until the housekeeper gently called his name that he came back to himself. Sir, Miss Claire left behind those 2 boxes. I remember where she used to keep them. I'll put everything back where it was. Those personal items were just some toothbrushes, towels, a pair of slippers I wore, a favorite bowl, even the pillow I liked to use in the study. One by one, Ryan took them out and throughout the long night, put everything back in its original place. He painfully remembered every trace of our love. He remembered all my tiny habits. A little teacup I used to forget to put away sat by the bay window. On some weekend nights, I would sit there reading files, occasionally looking up to complain to him. Investors were a pain, clients were a pain, employees were a pain. Ryan smiled reflexively at the memory. But when he focused again, everything was gone. He stayed up the entire night, and at dawn the next morning, he saw me, though not in person, but on TV. I stood next to the business partner from the reception, the two of us jointly announcing the new collaboration between our companies. We stood shoulder to shoulder, seamlessly answering reporters' questions. Of course, the media quickly shifted their attention to the elephant in the room, rumors about my recent separation from Ryan. I nodded and didn't deny it. A simple, peaceful separation wrapped up the end of our relationship. The ongoing divorce proceedings were drawing the final line under everything between us. I honestly hadn't expected Emily to ask to meet me in person. When my assistant informed me, I was a bit surprised. Still, I agreed to meet her and arranged to have her wait in the conference room. "Jang, bring a cup of warm milk. Miss Emily is pregnant, she shouldn't have tea," I instructed calmly. Emily gave me a measured look, clearly confused. "I thought you'd kick me out right away, or use the wrong family's influence to completely ruin me. But you're actually willing to offer me a drink? You're really kind." I let out a short, hollow laugh. "Kind? Emily, those 5 slaps I gave you must have rattled your brain if you still think I'm kind. I just don't know what kind of delusion you're trapped in this time. If I kicked you out, what, would you kneel in front of my company and scream that I was bullying you? That'd be another mess. So tell me, Miss Emily, what exactly did you come here for today?" As Zheng bent over to remove the tea, Emily quickly stopped her. "I'm not actually pregnant. I can drink tea. It's fine." Zheng looked at me for confirmation. I gave a nod, and she stepped back without pressing the issue. Emily looked confused. "You're not surprised at all?" I was surprised, just not anymore. Technically, I was, but I got over it quickly. Shane was the one who told me. He hosted the reception the other night. "That private hospital you went to? One of the major stakeholders is a friend of mine. He told me everything. When you caused a scene at the event which he hosted, he looked into you. So if you're not pregnant, why are you telling me? Shouldn't you be talking to Ryan?" I didn't get why she came to me about this, but judging from the miserable look on her face, she must have been out of options. "I'm sorry about the baby," she said quietly. "That message I sent back then, I just wanted to provoke you to, make you fight and split up. I just wanted to move up. I didn't know you were pregnant at the time. I really didn't." I understood now. Emily was here to confess, but I didn't care to listen. I cut her off. "What is this supposed to be? Crocodile tears? You chose to be the other woman. You chose to show off. You loved playing the poor, innocent act in front of Ryan. So what now? Remorse? I won't forgive you, and I'll never forgive you. Do whatever you want with Ryan, just don't bother me anymore. Got it?" Emily's eyes welled up again, ready to cry. That was her usual tactic, looking fragile and helpless, making men rush to her side to protect her. Like that time she quietly got into Ryan's passenger seat and, when I saw and got annoyed, claimed the alley was too dark and someone was following her. Just needed a ride. Or when she turned pale and said she had stomach issues, making Ryan take her to the hospital. She never remembered to bring an umbrella on rainy days. Always twisted her ankle on conveniently special occasions. I let out a long sigh. Then I looked her straight in the eye and asked, "You worked your way out of a remote village, made it through school with all those hardships, just to end up a mistress?" Emily's tears stopped. She stared at me blankly. "What did you say?" I repeated calmly, "I saw your resume when you applied to work for Ryan. It was impressive. You came from a poor, rural area, worked your way into one of the country's top universities, got both your bachelor's and master's degrees, won nearly every scholarship. And all of that, just so you could be someone's mistress?" I never had the habit of playing moral teacher. But maybe I said all that just to keep Emily from coming back to bother me again. I made myself very clear. Before anything happened between you two, I personally reviewed every assistant Ryan hired. I saw your resume, and I didn't stop you, not even because you were young and pretty. I thought, anyone who came from a background like yours must have ambition. But now look at you, faking a pregnancy, becoming a mistress, clinging to my leg at a public event and saying disgraceful things in front of a crowd. If that's who you've become, you should return all those scholarships, I said. Everything you studied was for nothing. I let out a sigh and looked at Emily. Get out. I really don't want to see you again. Emily left after being scolded. This time at least, she didn't cry. I instructed Zheng, make sure the security team doesn't let her in again. Once was enough. I've played the saint one time and that's all she gets. If there's a next time, I'm afraid I won't hold back and might slap her 5 more times. I had barely read 2 pages of the document in front of me when the phone rang. It was Ryan. Claire, did Emily come bother you again? I'm sorry, I'll come right away to take her home. No need. She's already gone. Next time, handle it beforehand. Don't call me after she's already come looking for me. I end up having to deal with both of you. Just remember, tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m., outside the Civil Affairs office. Don't be late. My tone made it perfectly clear that I didn't want to keep talking. Once Ryan got the message, I hung up. Beep, beep, beep. Ryan had wanted to say more, but all he got in return was a disconnected tone. That same night, Emily resigned. She didn't stay by Ryan's side, and she didn't even stay in the city. Even though I didn't want to see him again, I still met Ryan at the Civil Affairs office on the day we finalized the divorce. The moment I saw him, I froze. He was wearing a blue high school uniform. His usual gold-rimmed glasses had been replaced by plain black frames. His hair wasn't styled, it just hung down naturally. He stood by the entrance of the civil office, looking so much like the Ryan I remembered from our youth. Cicadas chirped. Green leaves rustled overhead. Ryan stood under the shade, vivid and alive, like the boy from my memories. As he walked toward me, he chatted like nothing had ever happened. But just as we reached the door, he suddenly leaned in and blinked at me playfully. Claire, can you fall in love with me one more time? It was hard not to hesitate. That face hadn't changed at all. It still looked exactly like the bold, unruly boy who once snatched my draft paper and called me dumb, yet secretly wrote out the solution steps and added a tiny heart at the end. I blinked a few times and came back to my senses. I patted Ryan's shoulder and pointed to a distant bare tree branch. Ryan, look, there's a bird over there. He turned his head, confused. Where? It's already gone, I said. And then, in case he didn't get the message, I repeated it more clearly. Ryan, it's already over. He understood what I meant. Silently, he took off the school uniform jacket. We went in together and finalized the divorce. That bright red booklet landed in my hands, and it felt impossibly heavy. It held the weight of 10 years of youth. Claire, he said quietly, I didn't see that message you sent that night. Emily confessed before she left. She was the one who replied, telling you about the infertility thing. She deleted the chat afterward. If I had seen that message, if I had come to you that night, would we still be together? I tucked the divorce certificate away and shook my head. How many nights did you spend with Emily? And now you want to ask me what if? Ryan, there are no more what ifs. What's done is done. He caught up to me, gently grabbing my hand. Can I still walk you home? I'm not trying to get back together, he added quickly. I want to start over. I want to fall in love with you again. I glanced at my phone and declined the offer because Shane was already on his way to pick me up. Take care of yourself. Goodbye. I waved to Ryan, opened the door to the car that had been waiting by the curb, and stepped in. The driver hit the gas, and we pulled away. Do you want to cry? Shane asked from the driver's seat. You can use my shoulder. Then he paused and added, but not while I'm driving. I can pull over if you want. That's when I finally snapped out of it. I'm not crying, I muttered, just feeling a little stuffy inside. Let's head to my place first, Shane said. My parents really like you. At a red light, with over 60 seconds left, Shane suddenly leaned closer and asked, Do you love me? I rolled my eyes at his childishness and pushed his head away. You seriously don't know the answer to that? Don't worry, I added. For the new project, I'll give you a 2% profit margin. Just help me pass the parent test. And if you fall for someone else, I'll do a perfect Thomas-style spin out of your life, complete with a full explanation. He glanced at my hand, as if instinctively checking the ring finger where the matching couple ring had once been. It was empty, but he didn't say anything. Instead, Shane smiled and joked to lighten the mood. 2% appearance fee? Miss Claire, how generous. How many points for the engagement? I laughed, playing along. 5 points. It's not like we're really getting engaged anyway. 5 should be enough. As the car moved forward, I looked in the rear-view mirror at the road behind us. But I never looked back. The next time I saw Ryan was 2 months later. Back when we got married, Ryan and I had donated a large sum to our alma mater to help renovate the aging classroom buildings. When construction was completed, the school and our old homeroom teacher invited us back to cut the ribbon. Standing there now, everything looked slightly different from what I remembered. Ryan nudged me playfully and joked, "Well, that money was definitely worth it." I chuckled, watching the students running across the soccer field. I casually pointed at one of the boys. "That one looks promising, but I think you used to run faster." Right as I finished speaking, the boy flashed a hand signal, then ran off the field to talk to a girl who had just arrived. Ah, that spark of young love, exactly like we once were. I gave Ryan a look of mock annoyance. He was staring at the diamond ring on my middle finger. "So, you're getting engaged to Shane next month?" he asked. I nodded. "Yes, I'll send you the invitation. Don't forget to come." Ryan nodded back. "Okay, I'll be there." The sun was rising higher and the heat started to grow. I said my goodbyes and left first. Ryan stayed behind, sitting beneath the shade of a tree, listening to the endless chirping of cicadas. Quietly, he watched those teenagers on the field flirt and tease, remembering how someone once said the same thing to him. "Exams are over, can I chase after you now?" That boy, just like he once was, eyes full of nothing but love. But when did that love start to fade? He couldn't remember anymore. That summer, buzzing with cicadas and thick with memory, was long gone. I turned back quietly one last time and said goodbye to that door full of stories. With pain still nestled in my palm, I got engaged. And Ryan, he never came, because he knew he had forever missed the noisy, love-filled summer of the cicadas. The end.